For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith. And this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Here in this passage, what does he say? He says we are saved, delivered from death, slavery, and the condemnation of sin. So there's no condemnation because of Jesus' death on the cross. It is through grace that we've been saved and in faith. Now, you cannot think that salvation is a transaction where God brings grace and you bring faith, and that's how you're saved. This passage clearly says God brings grace, God brings faith, and we bring death, enslavement, sin, and brokenness. And God does it all. Our response is simply to say, yes. We respond by saying, God, I believe, or yes to you. And there's two responses uniformly to this truth. Some take a very religious response, even though it says in this passage that we were dead, we were enslaved, we couldn't respond to God. Some people think that it's about earning their way to God, even though Ephesians 2:8-9 says it is by grace that you're saved through faith. It is not of yourselves. You can't do it. It's a gift of God. And yet some think, no, I've got to earn it. I've got to deserve it. They go on their spiritual treadmill. They go on their self-salvation project. They work hard and say, God, look at what I'm doing. I can earn it. I can deserve it. I can try hard enough. And ultimately, it only leads to bitterness and tiredness and depression because you can't earn it. The whole message of salvation is that God did what we could never do. God came to us and rescued us when we were dead, enslaved, and condemned. And he came in the person of Jesus Christ and he swept through and he rescued us. It is by grace that you're saved. And everyone's saved. And everyone that believes that came to a point finally where we said, God, I can't work for it. I can't earn it. I believe what you did. I surrender to you. Yes, to you. And when we did that, we get all emotional when we talk about it. But what happened? At that moment where we believed in Jesus, we received this gift of life. We had this sense that when we were dead, we were unresponsive to God. We couldn't hear his voice. We didn't understand his love. For the first time, God's love swept through our life. And not only that, we had this profound sense we really were forgiven. That the things that we'd done, Jesus had made them right. And he had given this profound sense of forgiveness. And not only that, he made us part of his family. We felt adopted and loved and included. And we were part of God's royal family. We had this profound sense of it. And all we could do is say thank you. And all of a sudden, we embraced the truth in Ephesians 2:10 where it says, you are God's masterpiece. You are God's poem. You are God's lyric. You are God's masterpiece. And you have this sense that God looks at you and says, beautiful. Wow. Magnificent. Incredible. You inspire me to joy. Look at the beauty in your life. Look at the colors. Look at the colors of love and joy and peace and patience. And you had a sense that God looked at you and he smiled because he saw the work of the Holy Spirit in your life. He saw you as his masterpiece.